Almost 6 years ago, Hytale was revealed to the gaming community at large, and the hype for a true Minecraft competitor reached a fever pitch. Fast forward to today, the game's development has been through numerous foundational reworks, one of which includes the development of a brand new custom engine. As you'd expect, the hype almost entirely waned as development times increased, with very little forward facing progress being shown to the community. As of today, July 29th, we are finally back with a new blog post update that somewhat answers our biggest burning question: where the heck is Hytale? My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today we're taking a critical look at Hytale's development and their summer 2024 update. So let's just lay this out. What are we talking about this time around? First and foremost, how the heck development is going and what overall milestones the team has hit. We'll also talk about the custom engine the team has been working with for about a year now. Then we'll fill in the blancs, their words, not mine, and talk about what happens next for the game. Finally, we'll take a look at the reworked Scarix, a powerful faction within the game. First, though, let's start with where this whole engine development process is at, because without that being complete, let's face it, the game is still likely a year or two away, out of reach of the public. That's not speculation, just a fact of game development. According to John Hendricks, Hytale's executive producer, the team has been on track since the winter 2023 development update, which, as with all Hytale related content, we covered here on the channel. So go check that out if you need a refresher on what he said then. The new engine has been in house for a year, and the first half of 2024 has been primarily focused on finishing the integration of the necessary systems and workflows needed to build Hytale and ensuring that the creative teams are fully transitioned into this new platform. While we were hoping this progress was further along and squarely in the rearview mirror, that's not the case, but it's good to hear it's at least nearing the end, and development of the actual game can go ahead full speed. Now, the rest of this year is focused on what the team is calling filling in the blancs. What does that mean exactly? For one, they're taking a magnifying glass to the custom engine in order to verify the tools and processes are all able to support their overall gameplay and creative vision for Hytale. This is essential if the team hopes to avoid any massive speed bumps or blockers in the future. Now, I get the need for this process, but at the same time, can you really ever be sure you're 100% good to go in game development? No, of course not. Issues and challenges always arise, and it will be crucial to the development going forward just how fast and fluid the team can be when things inevitably do show up. That's not saying this isn't an important step, though, because proactive work now could reduce and limit issues later. The team says they'll start with a simple version of PvP, a knockback based game mode, with their ultimate goal being to get back to a point where they can quickly iterate on core gameplay and build on successful playtests and minigame prototypes. The team is apparently at a hybrid stage where they've successfully transitioned some active features to the new engine, while other near complete experiences and content are in the process of being ported over. Going forward, we all need to wrap our heads around these terms, which are on screen and you've most likely seen before, just not in the context of Hytale. First playable, the first time a feature is usable in the new engine. First testable, the point where a feature is complete enough to test. Alphas, features are ready for broader exposure but not feature complete. And betas, features are complete but may be buggy or have incomplete content. First playable, first testable, alphas, and betas. These are terms the team wants to use in order to describe gameplay features as they move throughout the development process. And having a familiarity with these will make it easier for us to understand how far along aspects of the game are throughout the development process. So with the new engine cooking, let's take a look at the force now powering this entire game. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I was hoping we'd have a lot more to discuss than one or two clips of a small part of the world, but here we are, and beggars cannot be choosers. The intended focus of these are not to show some crazy new direction or feature, but instead shows how the team successfully managed to replicate the Hytale art style that they've curated over the last few years. Colors are vibrant, polygon edges are crisper, and a lot of the important aspects of the overall visual style are working in-engine. This means that artists can finally work within the new environment to more accurately and, more importantly, quickly build out and test game assets. It doesn't do much for us as viewers and followers of the game at this point, but as developers, it provides a huge motivational boost to the entire team. As Hytale fans, the last part of the summer 2024 blog post got us the most excited because it harkens back to a simpler time where we didn't have to deep dive into the tech powering a game, but instead could focus on the fun world and experiences the team is creating. For a while, the team has been saying and even showing us that each faction on Orbis is under visual and thematic scrutiny, with most being revisited while the other parts of the team were working on shoring up the new engine. We saw a lot of stuff in the winter update around the Quebecs and the Tree Singers, but this time around, we get a look at a sizable overhaul of the Scarix. When we originally saw Scarix revealed and in the subsequent previews, there were already consistent elements in the faction's overall look, such as the insectoid silhouettes, the earthy tones of their bodies, contrasted with the glowing blues of their eyes and antennas. They were very recognizable, but also felt similar across the board. The team really wanted to honor these recognizable elements, but also push the design forward in a way that really highlights the differences with each unit, while enhancing their iconic elements even further across all other elements of the faction. The team wants to make sure the environments we encounter the Scarix in feel unique from other encounters with insect-like enemies. So they've done a lot of brainstorming and concepting over the past few months to really make that happen. We see some really standout storyboards, each one attempting to really draw us into the world of the Scarix, which I think is a really important first step when developing unique factions for the game. Even without color, a lot of these are compositionally appealing, and things are just feeling right. How this will translate into the blocky nature of the game's environment, well, that's still unknown. So for now, let's pivot and talk about the Scarix themselves. Behold the new and, in our opinion, improved Scarix faction, shown here in this final lineup. From a visual standpoint, these are fantastic. Everything is cohesive, and the cyan color really pops, allowing you to identify not only key elements of each enemy's face and where they're located, but also highlight the other unique elements of each unit. At a glance, you'll be able to see what you're up against and where a potential weak point is on that enemy, and that's incredibly important in most any game. We also learn that the cyan accent color is more than just a highlight. Scarix are instead embracing an aspect of bioluminescence. We learn that this faction of insects doesn't operate as a hive mind. They instead have individual thoughts and communicate in complex ways via light and gesture, allowing them to form a complex hierarchical society that is as intelligent as it is threatening, distinctly separating them from the other bug-type enemies on Orbis. If that all sounds incredibly dense for a block-based game, you're damn right, and that's one of the reasons Hytale continues to hold our attention all these years later. It's the attention and commitment to the world and the characters within it that have always captured our imagination. On top of the full Scarix lineup, we also see a more detailed model of the Scarix Warrior and a full 3D turnaround, as well as a 3D rendering of the Scarix Guard and the Scarix Scout. We assume these will each play very specific roles within the hierarchy, and it's great that each one is extremely recognizable, which will ultimately play into the gameplay experience of trying to defeat each of the Scarix enemies. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Both Livid and myself were really hoping the team was further along than what they showed and talked about in this blog post, because at this point, even with their ability to iterate quicker coming soon, there is still a lot to be done in order for this to be a fully polished end product. Seeing progress on the various factions like the Quebecs during the winter update and now the Scarix during the summer update is nice, but it's not substantial and still leaves a lot of unanswered questions about the game. At this point, what matters is how close we are to updates on those important things like core gameplay systems, the overall production of the narrative, and technical aspects like being able to function on all the platforms they originally wanted to release on. Those are just a few of the mysteries still to be unraveled, so in our opinion, things are still very far away. Now, we are still incredibly excited for this game. Of course, the team has even talked about working closely with creator communities and players to get a sense for what the game truly needs, and we'd be lying if we said we didn't want to help contribute to those efforts. They have said they'll be bringing in more and more creators into the fold as the foundation of the future creator program comes into fruition, and we couldn't be more excited for that. We will, of course, continue to keep a close eye on Hytale as development rolls along. So if you're interested in the game and you want more updates like this in your feed, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, and of course, consider subscribing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.